How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Z Garage. I'm Josh as always, and if you remember where we left off last week on the Z, we are in the exact same place. This is picking up just a few minutes after the outro to last week's video. So if you don't remember, a quick refresh is that our transmission is out of the car because it doesn't, the slave cylinder doesn't contact the clutch. So we've got a spacer coming in, that's coming in soon, tomorrow for me, in a few minutes, I guess, for you guys. We have the engine pretty much ready to start. I need to go ahead and do one more wiring thing for the fuel pump to make it work properly. And then the car is getting wrapped. So you can see right here, we got some wrap going on. It is white, so I opted to go ahead and just go with a high gloss white. I did kind of lean towards red a little bit because I have seen this body kit in red, but I really wanted to make it all look nice with the engine bay, excuse me. And just kind of have a nice matching car and something that I'm going to know is going to look like that in the future. So I can kind of start buying wheels and stuff for it, and then I know what the final look is going to be. So we're doing white. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to kick off this video with just kind of looking over wrap and kind of how it's going. Like I said, this is my first time wrapping a car. So it's been an interesting process. I bought the 3M High Gloss 2080 wrap, which is their newest line of, or latest line of wrap, and also it's really nice. I've super enjoyed getting to work with it. It's been really easy to do, and honestly, I thought this was going to be a pain in the butt, and it's actually kind of fun. So I started on the hood, which was kind of a bad idea because it's a really big piece, and I didn't kind of get an idea of how to use it properly. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and scrap this piece, but I ordered tons of it, so I'm not really too concerned. But we're going to do a lot of body work to the Z to go ahead and make sure the wrap is laying flush and then has good adhesion. We got to clean it. It's really dusty, and we got to get all that off so that the wrap can adhere properly. So let's go ahead and just kind of look at what's going on right now, kind of where we're at, and kind of see where we're going to go from there. So let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so we've made some really good progress since the last video here, and we started working on the bodywork. So I went ahead and removed that mirror right there so we could get really underneath here. We've removed this trim piece right there, and then we started going ahead and doing all of the real bodywork. And there is quite a lot on this car. There are a lot of spots. I don't know if you guys can quite see how deep this is, but this, I'm not even through the bondo on this, and it is quite the divot already. We've got spots up here, spots over there, same thing on the other side. So we are working through all this right now. The goal is to go ahead and just get it nice and flat, and then we're gonna go ahead and put primer over a lot of these areas just to make sure that it is sealed and protected from the elements, and then we'll go ahead and wrap over that. That probably will cause an issue when we go ahead and pull the wrap off in the future, but when we pull the wrap off, we're gonna be painting the car anyways, so I don't really care too much about any possible body work we're gonna have to do there. So this is how it's coming along. There's just a lot of these little spots we need to go ahead and fill in, and then we can go ahead and keep working on this. This door is actually looking really good. It's pretty close to wrap. We need to go ahead and paint a few of these spots here where the adhesive took off some of the paint, and then there is one ding right here that I wanted to go ahead and fill in. So I think the doors are probably next on the wrap list, but I am pretty happy with it. So it's looking really good, and let's see how the bodywork comes out. Alright guys, the bodywork is coming along really well. You can see the body is nice and straight. We got rid of a lot of the dents that were in there, smoothed everything down, got rid of all the stripes and everything, so it's looking really good. But I'm literally waiting for paint to dry right now, because if we put on vinyl wrap too early, and maybe even tomorrow when we go ahead and do the final wrap, we might end up pulling up some of that paint that we already put down. So we want to be careful about exactly how dry our paint is. So I'm giving that time to go ahead and really set. And this is giving me an opportunity to go ahead and turn my attention to the engine bay, because what I've always wanted to put in here, I think I've mentioned it multiple times before, is a Z32 AC compressor bracket. And then I'm actually using my Z31 AC compressor. So the reason I'm using the Z31 instead of the Z32 is because it is a V-belt on the Z31, and the Roos Motorsports, or I don't remember whichever harmonic balancer, Ross, there you go, I can see it on there. It's a V-belt pulley on there. So the front pulley lines up with the AC compressor there, which is really nice to see. I was kind of scared that it wouldn't line up, but it does. So I am really happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and, so you can see I modified the bracket a little bit. You might be able to tell. Typically, there is an extension coming off the bottom of that for the tensioner. and we don't have that anymore. So currently we don't have a method to tension this AC, but if I can go ahead and cut off some more of that bracket that we don't need, we might be able to go ahead and use a bracket similar to the AC, or sorry, the alternator right there, to go ahead and tension the bottom of the AC compressor. The way that it mounts currently is it mounts through the top with like a single pin basically, and then it actually mounts on the bottom a hard mount, so the AC compressor doesn't move in the Z32 setup. But if we cut all that stuff off, we might go ahead and be able to fashion something of that sort over there to go ahead and make it tensionable. So I'm pretty happy about that, guys. I'm gonna keep working on this. There's really nothing to it other than just cutting and seeing what works. But I am pretty happy regardless. So I'm gonna go ahead, ooh, you know what? I just realized, so this is the bracket that came off of the Z31 AC compressor on the bottom. These two bolts are what hard mount it typically. Because we have this guy right here, we might be able to put this on the bottom of the AC bracket and use it to tension. So that would be extremely useful. So looking really, really good. I'm super happy because I really want AC in this before I leave. Hopefully we can find a shop that can work in the small spaces down there. I don't know if you guys can see, but the hoses right there, the silicone hoses that I have running for the wastegate, those are all the, except for the one that's, you know, unplugged right there. Those are the water cooling lines, and we don't really need to water cool the wastegate. I wanted to do it just for longevity, but we can go ahead, and because this is a street use car, we're not going to be tracking it. It's not going to be getting like really, really hot. So I think we're going to go ahead and ditch water cooling on the wastegate, and I'm just going to run new lines to just the turbo itself. But I think that's going to be probably the best way to do it, so we have a little bit more room on top there, because whoever makes these lines for us is going to have to get real creative with how they get in there, because it is quite the tight space. So fingers crossed that we can go ahead and make this work, guys. I still got to get the rest of there's a line that goes over and then back to the firewall, and then there's a line that comes up to the AC condenser, and then on the other side or somewhere else it comes over back into the compressor. So I still need to put in the original lines that I have, and then I will take the lines that connect to the compressor itself to the people at the AC shop so they can go ahead and kind of see what the original setup was, possibly modify those lines and or make new ones. I'm not sure if these fittings on these AC compressors are standard or not, because they did use R12 originally, and we're going to be obviously converting to R134A. So fingers crossed we can go ahead and get this working in time, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep working on it, and then hopefully tomorrow we get some wrap on the doors. I've already done like the headlight covers and the mirrors. They're looking really good. The hood we've tried twice now and haven't had good success just because of that cowl. It makes it a little bit difficult, so hopefully third time is the charm, but I think the game plan right now is to actually wrap the rest of the car, and then if we have time and or vinyl left, we will wrap the hood. But if not, it's a black hood on a white car, which is, you know, the standard Panda look, so it wouldn't actually be that bad. So if we end up showing up to Branson Z Fest with an unwrapped hood, that's just called a design choice, and definitely not because we ran out of time and or wrap to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep working on stuff, guys, and I'll keep you updated. It is Sunday, by the way. I don't know if I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try to label each day here for you so you can see how much progress we're making in every single day of the week. And then, you know, leading up to next weekend when this video releases for you guys, you can see exactly where we are at and how much progress we're making. So, like I said, I'm really happy about this. Let's go ahead and just keep working on it. All right, guys. Well, I think I misspoke in yesterday's video. I think I said it was Sunday yesterday, but it was still Saturday. Today is Sunday, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but we have vinyl wrapped this door, and it is much, much shinier than it was. Let me see if I can get, I don't know, some lights in it. It looks really, really nice. So I've got this door done. I actually have that fender done. I just haven't moved for right now because I am working on the transmission now. But we also got that door over there done and the rear hatch done. I need to go ahead and paint the spoiler, but that shouldn't be too hard. So we're making really, really good progress on the body. It's looking really good. I don't know if I mentioned already, but the mirrors and headlight covers are done as well. So making really good progress. I think we're going to be tackling the quarter panels next, which is going to be a big process. So I will definitely let you know how those go. I do need to do some body work on the bumper back there. If you're curious, actually, let me go ahead and go over this real quick. The bumper is held on by, I don't know, it's like 12 bolts along the bottom here, and then I believe there's 2 on each of these side pieces here. So from underneath you get here, from inside the hatch you get along here, and then the bumper actually goes up around, and there's like 4 more bolts on the bottom as well. So lots of bolts holding the bumper on, but it's really not too hard to get off. They're all just 10 millimeters. So looking really, really good. Now I got my new transmission spacer here, so I'm about to install that. Hopefully we can get it in the transmission easily. I do have to depressurize the system, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and bleed it again, which is kind of unfortunate, but I guess I can't complain too much. Then we'll get it back up into the Z, and hopefully we can stick our borescope in and see that everything is looking really good. So fingers crossed that that works out. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Alright guys, it is Monday night and we haven't really done too much on the bodywork side of things, but I got the transmission and the adapter fit in. I'll throw up a picture now of what it used to look like. You can see how much space there is, and the slave cylinder is completely uncompressed. And now I'll throw up another picture of what it looks like now, where the slave cylinder is compressed. There is still, you might be able to see splines in front of the clutch. So everything is the perfect space. Everything's looking really, really good. So I'm super excited, ready for that to go ahead and just be completely finalized. I went ahead and threw an engine belt on the engine here. This is just like a 88 alternator belt. They should all be the same. And they moved to the serpentine. I don't know if you guys can see this that well. They moved to the serpentine style belt in 88. So we've got the serpentine pulley here, serpentine on the harmonic balancer, and then that is just obviously a alternator with a ribbed belt in it anyways. So looking really good, except for, I don't know if you guys can see, the Z32 AC bracket actually hits the belt right here. So we definitely need to cut this little ear off. I was planning on cutting that whole section off anyways because it doesn't do anything. I don't know if you guys can see it that easily, but it doesn't do anything anymore for us. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that whole thing off, but I do need to go ahead and do that before we get this engine started. So there you go. That is Monday's progress. Obviously not tons because it was a weekday, but we are making really, really good, steady progress. I'm hoping to go ahead and start this tomorrow. So next clip should be us finishing up this engine, and I think starting it tomorrow. So fingers crossed that tomorrow goes well and that we don't have any issues. All right, guys, it is Tuesday night, and I've got everything back together on the Z, and we primed it, made sure that there's no more fuel leaks. I went ahead and turned it over a couple times just to make sure that we got oil pressure everywhere. No leaks so far, so it's looking really, really good. Let's go ahead and try to do a first start. So hopefully nothing explodes. Fingers crossed. Might not have any ignition. Let me plug in my dash and see. Alright guys, so it is actually now Wednesday today. If you saw last night, it cranked over but it wouldn't start, and I figured out I had 2 issues. One being that the crank angle sensor, I had grounded it to cam ground, a pinout on the ECU. Turns out that that's not what you're supposed to do for this style of sensor. It just needs to go to sensor ground. So I rewired that so it's got sensor ground now. And then I was also going and I figured I had injector pulse, and I had, I could see the engine RPM because I couldn't see it before. And I was like, why isn't it starting? So I started, testing pins and everything. It turned out I had my entire coil pack sub-harness pinned backwards on one side than the other side. So, coils weren't going to the places. They also have sensor grounds. So all of that was going to the wrong spot. So all that to say, I got everything fixed now. Let's go ahead and start it up. Alright guys, it is now Thursday morning, and I spent more time last night rewiring the injector harness again because it turns out I had my coils wired for an LS1 when they should have been wired for an LS2, which is a 180-degree flip of every single pin in every single connector, except these connectors are not repinnable, so I had to go ahead and just re-crimp every single one. So it was quite the process, but I've checked, actually Spark's now in Spark mode, so let's go ahead and see if we can get a first start. Alright guys, as you can tell, we didn't have any luck this morning. It is definitely getting closer, it is trying, but I think we might need to go ahead and take a look at, just make sure the wiring is correct. I've double checked, but make sure the wiring to each of the coils is the correct one, because it kind of sounds like it's working out of order. And then we'll also go ahead and throw the timing light on there, make sure that it has got correct timing. So very, very close, but no, not quite yet. So I'm gonna head to work, and then after work we'll go ahead and work a little bit more on this. Alright guys, it is Thursday night, and I believe I have figured out the issue. In the ECU, it was taking into account the wideband sensor, and for some reason my wideband sensor is only working on crank right now, so I need to go ahead and fix the wiring on that. But it seems like it wants to start now, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in the driver's side seat, and we'll see if giving this thing a little bit of throttle will make it start. So let's go ahead and try it. Alright guys, well it started. The ECU is saying it hit about 3,000 RPMs there, so I think we might need to dial back the intake just a little bit. So I'm going to work on the adjustment on the throttle, and hopefully that helps us get to a little bit more of a reasonable idle speed. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright guys, well, it has been a crazy week, and I gotta make this fast because unfortunately my lav mic is dying and I don't want to lose the audio on this. But it is currently 3 a.m. Friday night, Saturday morning, however you want to talk about it. And you can see the car is pretty well put together. Now it's not completely finished, I still need to wrap that fender, still need to wrap the back quarter panels and the roof. There's still more work to do, but I went ahead and I think I figured out what was the engine issue, why I was idling so high. This intake, if you remember a couple engine builds ago, it was kind of hitting where the PCV, the original PCV port was on the valve cover over here on the passenger side. So I trimmed it down, but I didn't trim it down far enough. And so it actually was still tilted a little bit, and there was a huge vacuum leak along the center flange. So I went ahead and trimmed it down. I'll put a picture up right now of how it looks. And now everything sits nice and flat. I can go ahead and slide something between that port and the valve, or the cover here, or the manifold, sorry. But it is quite a tight fit still. So if you're gonna get this intake, make sure you have to trim your valve cover very, very low. Anyways, it's looking really good. I'm hoping that tomorrow morning I can go ahead and start this up, because in like 5 hours, 6 hours or something at this point, no, 5 hours, I'm not going to get much sleep tonight, guys, but I need to take this thing to get in alignment. I have one scheduled for 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, so hopefully we can get up, get the car started, verify that there's no more leaks. I went ahead and fixed some oil leaks, and just a coolant leak. I redid the coolant on the turbo, so that's looking pretty good. And I took out the wastegate from that system, so it should just be a straight line, no more leaks. And it's looking really, really good. So guys, I'm super excited. I gotta go ahead and get this video edited and uploaded so you guys can see it tomorrow. But it's a complete car. It's almost there, guys. I'm really, really excited for this. So fingers crossed, this next video here, I'll see if I can release it on like Monday or Tuesday for you guys. Hopefully we get the rest of the thing wrapped, running. It's gonna be a first drive video. I might do that separately just so we can kind of get things out as fast as possible. I'm not 100% sure, but it's going to be really, really big. So keep your eyes on the channel, guys. And I'm super duper excited to get to Branson Z Fest. So fingers crossed, I see a couple of you guys there, and I will see you next time.